Okay. Hi, Ellen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Oh, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for coming on. It's nice to have you here. I've got your bio in front of me. It looks like you've written quite a number of books. Are all of your books children's books?
Yes, or young adults. So I have young adult books, young adult anthology, and then the rest are middle grade books and anthologies.
Okay, so young adult is what age? Teenaged?
Yes.
And the book you are here, you are here. You are here
Yeah.
to promote is called You Are Here,
Yes.
Connecting Flights. There it is. Okay. And this is a sort of a compilation book, right? There are 12 authors who contributed to this book.
Exactly. In fact, I refuse to call this an anthology because it's so much more than that. 12 stories, very interwoven and connected. We had a great time putting it together. In fact, at one point, I had a very detailed Excel spreadsheet, kind of just tracking all the characters, where they were, what were they wearing, where would they intersect with others, so that all the stories would kind of like connect with each other and uh, kind of fit together almost like a jigsaw puzzle if you were to think of it that way.
Okay, now are these are fictional stories though, right?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So is
I would well, I was going to say I would say though that it has a little bit of all the authors in each character.
so am I correct to assume that this is 12 different people who kind of meet or collide at the airport for various
Yes.
reasons? Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, it starts with the first story where Paul, the first character you meet, Christina Suntervat's story, he's online at TSA and he realizes that his grandmother has something alarming in her carry-on that triggers a TSA security incident and locks down the area, and that, of course, a ripple effect into all the other stories.
It also says that all 12 interconnected stories are 12 different characters, all of Asian descent. Is that correct?
East and Southeast Asian American.
Okay. Is there a message there? I mean, is there sort of a moral to this story about diverse cultures, or tell me about that?
Okay, so it starts with We Need Diverse Books. I'm a founding member of the organization We Need Diverse Books, which is the mission is to increase diversity in children's literature. And we had published an anthology called Flying Lessons and Other Stories in January of 2017. And we were really proud of this book, except we got a reader who was a little disappointed in the story that was written by Grace Lynn, which is a great story. Grace is a fabulous author. But the criticism was that the one East Asian story in the book was not set in America when all the other ones were. And we were like, oh my gosh, I'm of East Asian descent, so is Grace. How did we miss this? So it was kind of important for Grace and I to think about doing a project that would address kind of the wrong that we had made, that would uh, share the experience of East Asian Americans specifically. Now, that was in 2017, and a lot happened in between that time and now. The pandemic, a rise in anti Asian sentiment, a lot of negative things that were to direct it toward people of East Asian and Southeast Asian American descent. So it felt like more important than ever to do a project like this. And that's what it is. That's why it's called You Are Here. It's our story to tell about Asian Americans and how we are just as American as anybody else. And that was kind of the message that we wanted to make.
Well, it's a very nice message, and it brings up a good point that people who are called Asian Americans come from many different countries and many different cultures. It's not one
Absolutely.
homogenous group, which some people may mistake that for. Oh, Asians are Asians. No, it's not really true. I lived in Thailand for 3 years. Back in 2007, I was teaching English in the rural rice area in northern Thailand. And I can tell you that from where I traveled around, Thailand was completely different from Malaysia, was completely different from Indonesia, was completely different from Japan, was completely different from Korea. But yet everybody in who comes from those areas are called Asian,
Yeah.
right?
And one of the things that we were commenting on the fact is that there is so much vast diversity in what has, like, people kind of just lump us in as this, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean uh, descent category, and it's quite troublesome that so many different ethnicities and cultures are lumped that way, and that's why it's so important to give them different voices. This anthology just does just that. You are here, you see a Thai character and a Vietnamese character and a Japanese character and Chinese and Korean. Uh, I wish I could have expanded it far more and told a lot more of a. There's only so much you can do in one book, but I think that still is a small taste of the vast diversity that is the Asian American experience.
Well, absolutely. So it brings me to a question. When Asians come to the United States, they immigrate, they become Americans. Where is the commonality? Because it's easy to say, okay, well, they're Japanese, they're Korean, they're Chinese, very different cultures. But once you come to America, you become American. Where is the commonality amongst all of these people? Is that portrayed in the book?
I think so. I think the commonality here specifically is these characters that kind of fall into the category of not Asian enough and not and feeling not American enough, and trying to kind of grapple back that identity and say, no, no, we are this own new identity. We are Asian American, however that may be, whether you're Thai American or Vietnamese American. There's pride in the fact that we are Asian American in both parts of that identity. Whereas before we would feel kind of like lost in that middle ground, if you know what I mean. I do think that a lot of immigrant children's experiences are similar to that, of being caught in that place. And so what You Are Here does is to remind people of this very important identity, Asian American. It's vast, but it is ours.
How much of people's identity do you think they should hold on to when they immigrate to a new country? Do you think that assimilation is important, or do you think that it dilutes their origins and they should be preserved?
I think this is a hard question. There's that old saying that America is a melting pot, but actually it's not. It's more of a salad, right? And I think that that's true. There's, of course, some assimilation that has to happen. My parents are different from me. I parent different from how they did. My kids are third generation Korean American, so they have a very different experience than I did. So all of that makes our experiences different. But at the same time, we do try to preserve the culture that we grew up with. And I try to pass what I can to my kids. So while assimilation is a natural thing that happens because of the American part of our identity, having roots in our culture is also a beautiful thing, especially food, because Korean food is awesome.
Well, I think that was a fantastic answer to a very complex question. So bravo for that.
Thank you.
I want to switch gears here just a little bit. We've got just a couple of minutes. I found on your bio, which I got a kick out of, that you listed your favorite foods, your favorite color, your favorite desserts, favorite snacks, which I don't see that done too often. It was very cute. So if you don't mind, I'm going to just hit on a couple of these just for fun, and then we're going to kind of wind it down. I did see the picture of you with your two dogs, Toki and Kiko. Is that right? Am I pronouncing that right? Okay.
That's right.
Are they Bichons?
So Toki is a Coton de Toulier, and
Oh,
Kiko is a Golden Doodle.
so I didn't get either of those right. They look like Bichon Frises, but it's hard to tell with the small dogs. You know?
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Kiko's a little bigger.
I have two dogs myself, and they're out in the hall right now at the studio. I bring them with me. And
Oh,
so I always have a soft spot for people who love dogs.
oh, me too. What kind of dogs do you have?
Well, one's a German Shepherd, and the other one is a mix of miniature poodle and Shih Tzu.
Oh, oh, that is so cute. Oh, I love. Aren't they called? What are they called again? Shit poo? No,
Yeah, Shih
sorry,
Tzus. We don't like to say
sorry,
that on this show, you know.
sorry. You'd have to cut that out.
No, it's all
But
right.
yeah, they're very cute.
Okay, and let's see. Favorite food, Korean food. What is your favorite dish?
So there's a dish called kimchi jjigae, which is really stinky and really spicy, but I love it. And it actually is one of the dishes that I make very well. So that might be part of why I love it so much. But it is something that I pride myself in kind of keeping to my cultural roots. Because I think if you can make kimchi jjigae, that's really good for a Korean.
Is the base of kimchi, is that pickled cabbage?
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay,
Spicy pickled
but very
cabbage.
spicy. Years ago, I was on Korean Airlines, and they gave me a tube that looked like toothpaste with some red stuff in it. What exactly is that? I didn't open it.
Did they give that to you with rice and vegetables?
Yes.
Oh, then that is gochujang, which is a red hot pepper paste that you mix in with your rice, meat, and vegetables, and it gives it a delicious spicy kick.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of afraid of spicy food, so I stayed away from it. But I thought it was interesting the way it was served in a toothpaste tube, and everybody got one.
I have never seen that, but now I really want to get that. I wonder how I get that.
Well, if you fly on Korean Airlines, they give it to everybody.
The last time I flew on Korean Airlines, though, they gave it to me in a little cup. So I think they've gotten rid of the toothpaste, gochujang.
Oh, well, maybe
Mm.
so. This was a few years ago, so I don't know. I haven't been on them in a while. We've just got about 2 minutes left, and let me pivot back to your books. So, your other books, uh, are there any particular themes that run through all your other books, or are they kind of standalones? Or give us like a quick overview of your other work.
Well, I love writing horror. Like scaring kids are my favorite things to do, especially scaring other people's kids, which is what writing books lets me do. So I have a Spirit Hunter series where basically my main character has the abilities to see ghosts and kind of like vanquish evil demons and evil witches. So that's fun. In fact, my newest book coming out is a another horror book. It is called Haru Zombie Dog Hero, and I actually wrote that book because of my two dogs. Because, it was that moment where I was sitting with my dogs and they were staring at me with so much love and trust. Or maybe it was my popcorn, I'm not sure. But anyway, they're just looking at me and I'm like, even if they turned into zombies, they would still love me. And that's where How to Zombie Dog Hero came about. So I love writing horror, but I also write contemporary. One of my last books was called Finding Junie Kim, which was a contemporary book, but also a historical fiction book about my mother's experience as uh, a child lost from her parents during the Korean War. So I also write fantasy, so I'm kind of like all over the place.
Well, Ellen, we do have to wind this down. We have just run out of time. Thank you so much for coming on. Do you have a website that you want to give out?
I do. My website is lno.com, and all my books are listed there. So thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Now, your latest book, You Are Here, is that out now?
It is. It is out now and can be found in bookstores and online wherever you buy your books.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again for coming on the show. It was really nice meeting you and talking to you. Best of luck with all of your books.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.